Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shamika George and I am the creator and founder of Fro Plus Fashion, where I encourage women to embrace their natural hair and curves and in general do everything with style. In this video, I'm sharing with you guys another thrift flip / DIY makeover that I did. The story is not as interesting as the last one with my DIY oversized mirror, which by the way, if you haven't seen that, you can always check it out after this video with the card that's going to run across the screen on top, or you can wait until the end of this video to check that out. But the backstory behind this one is that I just needed a dresser. When I relocated to Florida, I bought a dresser really cheap because I just wanted to get little things to furnish my apartment, and I went the cheap route. So it's been about 4 or 5 years and that dresser that I had is done. All the tracks broke off of it. I've literally been like picking my clothes out of dresser drawers that have been sitting on the floor. So I decided to go ahead and get a dresser, and I really wanted something that was of quality. So if that meant that I needed to go and thrift something that was like really good quality and solid wood, and I just had to put in a little bit of effort to rejuvenate it, then I would go that route. So that's what this video is all about. I definitely lucked out when I began to search for the dresser because I literally went to one thrift store on my first trip. I found this dresser. It's a gorgeous vintage dresser. So I tossed around a couple of different ideas for how I was going to remake this dresser, but ultimately I decided on painting the bottom white and then also restaining the top to match my oversized mirror behind me. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and let's get into it. So this is a dresser, you guys. I found it in Goodwill and I bought it at the price of $65, which is still really good for a thrifted solid wood dresser. You just don't come across something that's gonna last a really long time that often, so I had no problems putting $65 into this dresser. That's definitely the most I've spent on one particular item, but here's why. What I really loved about it is that it's solid wood. I also love that it has this really cool jewelry drawer. I've never had that in a dresser before, so I thought that was really cool because I have a lot of custom jewelry and sunglasses and stuff like that, so I thought it would be neat to keep my stuff in there. And then also the drawers are deep, deep drawers, and I love to keep like graphic tees and PJs and stuff like that, a lot of t-shirts and stuff like that. So this drawer, the fact that these drawers are so deep is gonna work for me just fine. It's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid dresser. It looks like the drawers had just been refurbished. As you guys can see, it looks really clean and it's in great shape. So here are the supplies. First things first, I decided that I did not want to keep the vintage Victorian-esque handles, so I removed those using my Ryobi power drill. So the knobs that I decided to replace them with only needed one hole to install, and if I used the ones that were there, it just wouldn't line up right. So I decided to fill them in with some DAP wood filler that is paintable and stainable. The tape that I put behind the holes helps to keep the wood filler in place as it sets. The wood filler dries relatively quickly and it starts out in a pinkish color and dries into this natural color. On to stripping the dresser. In order to stain the dresser's top a new color, I had to get rid of any finishes that was on there. So I used a paint and finish stripper from Clean Strip that I spread all over the dresser top with a paintbrush. I let it sit for about 15 minutes and then scraped all the finish off with a plastic scraper. This process can be very messy, so if you're doing it all over the dresser, you definitely want to put down some drop cloths underneath to catch any of the mess that might fall off. And also this stuff is corrosive, so make sure that you're using chemical resistant gloves when handling it. Do your best not to get it on your skin, and if you do, try to get it off as soon as possible. So I went back in with the stripper again as a spot treatment for some of the more stubborn parts as well. Once I was done with that, I cleaned the surface with trisodium phosphate or TSP substitute cleaner. This basically helps to remove the dirt, oil, and any other substances like the paint stripper from the surface. It's just great to use right before you paint to make sure everything is nice and clean. Next, I brought out my Ryobi orbital sander and sanded the dresser's top with a 220 grit sandpaper. It's always a good idea to sand the wood so it's able to soak in any wood conditioner and stain that you're about to put on it. Okay y'all, staining definitely has to be my favorite part of my wood projects that I've done so far. I just thoroughly enjoy it. After I was done sanding and I removed all of the sawdust, I brushed a pre-stained wood conditioner onto the wood. And then I went in with my favorite gunstock stain color from Restain. I did 2 coats, letting the second coat soak in for 15 to 20 minutes. Then I wiped off the excess with a rag. While the dresser top was setting, I did the same conditioning and staining process with the knobs that I bought from Home Depot. I just dipped them in wood conditioner and then wiped off the excess. And 20 minutes later, I dipped them in the gunstock stain and let that sit for about 10 minutes. Then I wiped off the excess from that as well. Getting closer to painting time, I sanded the rest of the dresser and the drawers down to create an abrasive surface for the paint to adhere to. Probably didn't have to sand because after I wiped it all down again with TSP substitute, I used this Zinsser Bullseye 123 primer, and it's formulated for all surfaces and it's supposed to work without sanding at all. So if you're gonna use this primer, you probably don't need to sand everything down, but I just wanted to make sure that all of my paint stuck the first go round. Some Behr paint, which has to be the prettiest white that I've ever seen. It's definitely my favorite because it's very neutral. It's not cool or warm, it's just white. It doesn't look gray, green, any other color, just white. So this particular formulation is great for durability, which is needed for furniture that gets a lot of traffic. So with all the opening and closing of drawers, I had to get a durable paint. From wear and tear, I seal the paint and stain job with water-based polyurethane. It just makes your project more durable, and it also provides some scratch resistance. So I let all of that cure for about 2 to 3 days before moving on to the final step. knew how I wanted the knobs to be set up, so I just used a piece of scrap wood to make sure that everything lined up horizontally and vertically. So I thought about just drilling the screws into the actual dresser, but I realized that that may not be the best option because sometimes it can cause the wood to split, and I definitely didn't want that because that would ruin the whole project. So I started off with a small drill bit to pre-drill the holes, but worked up to a larger one for a secure fit that wasn't a workout to install. How my vintage Victorian-esque $65 dresser looked before, and here's how it looks now. Y'all, I am in love with my new dresser. I just love it. It just looks great. It looks exactly how I envisioned it once I decided what I was going to do with it. And I hope you guys like it too. And I can't wait to move it on into my room and get all my clothes into it and just have everything situated. If you like this video and everything that I've shared so far, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that little bell button next to the subscribe button so that way the next time I upload a video, you will be one of the first to know. In the meantime, in between time, you can also follow me on Instagram at Fashion. I post on there every single day, so I hope you guys tune in for that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.